Let's remember all the Shuhada of Islam, especially Shuhada of Lebanon and Gaza, with Surah Al-Fatiha and Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Also, let's recite Surah Fatiha for Marhum Haji Bashir Ahmed Faizi. They sent me a reminder here. A member from, I believe, Masjid Zahra community, as well as Marhum Chawushi, another member of our community. Yeah, sure. Also, I heard today, I don't have the details, but they told me it was another attack on the Shias of Parachinar again. And let's remember them with Surah Fatiha and Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi rajoon. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punish those responsible for these atrocities against the innocent anywhere in the world, especially for the helpless and madlumeen of Parachinar who've been victims of these terrorist attack for a long time now. And also may Allah bring an end to the suffering of all the oppressed and madlum with the coming of the Imam of our time, with another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله الذي لا بداية له، والدائم الذي لا نفاد له، والأول الذي لا أول لأوليته، والآخر الذي لا مؤخر لآخريته، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وحبيبه، حافظ سره ومبلغ رسالاته، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين الهداة المهديين، سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أعداء الله أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا أوفوا بالعقود، أحلت لكم بهيمة الأنعام إلا ما يتلى عليكم غير محل الصيد وأنتم حرم إن الله يحكم ما يريد. صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant our hearts steadfastness, strength at the time of calamities and hardship. May Allah grant us patience and sabr at the time of bala and trials and tests. And may Allah grant us all basira, insight, at the time of confusion and doubt, with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Surah Al-Ma'idah is among the last chapters of the Holy Quran that was revealed to Holy Prophet. A few months before Prophet's departure and death, Surah Al-Ma'idah was revealed. And this ayah that I recited is from Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 1. Among all the surahs of the Quran, the surahs with most amana we can call for the believers. Because this is the subject of this speech, right? The calls of Allah. And usually the verse starts with, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Sometimes it's the call for all humanity, Ya ayyuhan nas, all mankind. Sometimes it's addressing the believers exclusively, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. And this surah has the most amount of Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, 18 times in this surah. Surah Al-Baqarah is much longer chapter than this, but there are 11 Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in that one. Why it matters? Because this surah is the surah that the verse of Ghadir, the completion, perfection of religion, is also in this surah, Surah Al-Ma'idah. And the first thing Allah said in this surah is, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O those of you who have faith, awfu bil-uqud, fulfill your contracts. Aqd, if you heard the word aqd, it means contract. They call nikah. When two people marry in Islam, there's aqd of nikah. There's a contract of nikah between the two parties, between the husband and wife. And that's the topic of tonight, uqud. They asked Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, what is uqud? And Imam said, al-uhud. Aqd and uqud is the plural of aqd. Uqud is plural. Uhud is the plural of ahd. Ahd is a promise, a covenant, an agreement. So in other words, we translate that Allah says, this is the call of Allah. O believers, you should fulfill your agreements. You should make sure to hold the end of the bargain, basically. If you made a contract, an agreement, then you have to hold on to it. And it's interestingly that the day of Ghadir, it was another contract. It was people came to Imam Ali alayhi salam and gave their ahd to him. They said, Bakhin, bakhin laki ya Ali. So the rest of the ayah, because this was, as I said, among the last chapters revealed to Prophet, and this was the time that Prophet went to Hajj. Allah talks about Hajj as well. أُحِدَّتْ لَكُمْ بَهِيمَةُ الْأَنْعَامِ. The rest of the ayah said, lawful for you are the animals of grazing livestock, referring to halal meat animals. إِلَّا مَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْكُمْ غَيْرَ مُحِلِّ الصَّيْدِ وَأَنْتُمْ حُرُمْ. Except for that which is recited to you in this Quran, hunting not being permitted while you are in the state of ihram. Saying the rules of ihram that you cannot hunt when you're performing Hajj, basically. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَحْكُمُ مَا يُرِيدُ. Indeed, Allah ordained what He intends, what He wills, basically. But this part that Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu awfu bil uqud, this aqd and this contract, these promises that we talk about, it's so important that in the words of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, there are actions that regardless of who are you dealing with, even your enemy, there's a letter of Imam Ali alayhi salam to Malik al-Ashtar, his companion Malik. And in that, Imam alayhi salam said, "O Malik, if you make an agreement with your enemy, make sure to fulfill your agreement, even if that means your enemy. Even if it means you have now an advantage over them. But you made a promise, you made an agreement, now you have to stick with it." So Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam recited salawat. Imam alayhi salam said that there are three things that there is no freedom from them. There is no exemption from them. ثلاث ليس فيهن رخصة. There are three things. There is no rukhsat. There is no exemption, exclusion from them. One of them that Imam alayhi salam said is, ثلاث لم يجعل الله لأحد فيهن رخصة. Pretty much wording is a bit different but the same. أداء الأمانة إلى البر والفاجر. Returning people's trust. Amanat means somebody who trusted you with anything that we can imagine. Ada'ul amana is to return their trust. Now this person could be a good guy, bir, righteous, or it could be a corrupt, criminal, fajr. It doesn't make a difference. You have to return their amana. They trusted you to hold on to this for me. Our Prophet is an example of that himself. When he migrated from Mecca to Medina, because of the piling up of pressure on him and Muslims, persecution, torture, abuse, Imam Ali alayhi salam stayed behind. And among the tasks that Prophet delegated to him was to return people's trust, people's amanat. You stay behind. These are the same people who are mushrik. They're not Muslim, they're not believers, they are idol worshippers, but they trusted Prophet. He is al-Amin, now he's going to return the trust. And that should be a lesson for all of us. If you agree to an agreement, a contract, you stick with it. Number two, al-wafa bil-ahd. So the first is returning people's trust, being loyal, being trustworthy, regardless if the guy that trusted you is a good guy or a bad guy, as I said. Second one is to fulfill your contract, your promise, your covenant. Again, lil birri wal fajr. Doesn't matter the one that you entered this agreement with, you made a promise to, if it's a good guy or a bad guy, doesn't matter. You agreed, you have to fulfill your part. Why I say this? Because I hear we do this double standard of morality. If someone is poor, if somebody seems weak, we feel pity for them as humans. We feel bad. They don't have much. You know, it's a big deal to them. But suddenly a rich guy walks in, that we can overcharge them. We can trick them on that. Suddenly our standard changes. It doesn't make a difference to them. Even if I make more money off of them, this is like, change money for them. But the point is, it doesn't matter. If it's a rich guy you're dealing with, if it's a poor guy you're dealing with, when you make a promise that I give you the best deal, or I will give the same deal that I give to you to others. These words, it means you are making a promise, right? When you say the word, I give you the best deal. When you say the word, that I give the same deal that I give to I give you everywhere you go? Friends and family discount. You have to stick with it. Don't say it otherwise. You have to stick with it. It doesn't matter because they're rich, you can find a way around it. And the third one, Imam said, birrul walidain. Being kind and being also good to your parents is a responsibility that there's no exemption. مؤمنا كان or مؤمنين كان أو فاجرين. Doesn't matter if they're believer parents, if they're following the religion, or they're kafir. Even if they are non-believers, still you have to honor them. Still you have to do birrul walidain, do good to them. So this call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's very critical. Awfu bil-uqud. We can categorize it to multiple type of promises that we make. One promise, one contract, we can say it, is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Yasin, we recited this ayah many times. Alam a'had ilaykum ya bani Adam an la ta'budu shaytan. Allah said, didn't you make a promise? Didn't you make a covenant with me as your creator that you will not follow, you will not worship shaitan? Indeed, he is a manifest enemy to you. The question is, where we make this promise? Allah said, your fitrah, the way we created you, this innocence that you were born with, you acknowledge the existence of Allah. You don't find children who deny the existence of God. You say, they're immature, they don't know, but it's not it. A lot of things, when to explain to children, they know the ugliness of it. You heard this example, this analogy from me. Children, when they lie, what happened to their face? Ask parents, they tell you. The moment they did something wrong, you can exactly know they made a mess. They come to the room, from the body language, they turn red. Why is it? There's an innocence. They're not good at masking it, hiding it. But as we grow older, it's different. It's not that we become now more educated, more mature. No, we just learn how to ignore our fitrah, how to disable it temporarily. But I said, if you ask the thieves, they have the fitrah still. They go and steal from someone else, the robbers and thieves. But when it comes among themselves, what they want to do? Justice. Let's be fair. Let's divide it equally. Let's make sure everybody get what they deserve. So fitrah is that contract. That Allah said, we created you with this internal blessing. We can call it this good core and nature. And this nature of you will reject shaitan. That's why it's very easy. Again, people ask me, I always say, children are very vulnerable to what they see. A lot of behaviors of children coming from us. And you heard this from me before again. Children don't become what we want them to become. Again, children do not turn out to what we want them to become. They become what we are. That's all it is. The hadith said, when you make a promise to your child, what to do? Fulfill your promise. Don't say it to them that you're going to buy them ice cream unless you're planning to buy them ice cream. Do not say, I say it until they're quiet and then. Be very smart and also very aware and vigilant of what you say. Don't make it, okay, I buy you a bicycle. I buy you this, I buy you that. If you cannot afford it, don't make a promise. If you do, then you stick with it. That's important. So one contract, one ahd, one promise is to Allah. To don't let our fitrah, our good nature, to be corrupted, to be blocked, to be veiled. We don't want to let that happen. The further we go with sins, the thicker this barrier between our fitrah and our iman gets. It becomes a moment that people, they just do sins when there's no advantage for them. They lie because they lie. No reason to lie anymore. We just enjoy it. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Also, when we believe that we are a Muslim, when we look at the teaching of our faith, we made a promise that I will follow. When I say La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. We're making a contract. I'm a Muslim, that means now I am responsible. Among that is that I should believe in no one except Allah. That's a promise. Iyyaka na'budu. We only worship one. That's a contract. That's a promise. That's a covenant that we make. So that's one. Second one is to the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. That's also a promise. That's also a covenant. Surah Fatih, verse 10. Allah says, Inna alladhina yubayya'unak, O Prophet, and those who pledge allegiance. They give you their bay'ah. Innama yubayya'una Allah. They are actually pledging allegiance to Allah. When they do it to you, they do it with Allah. Yadullah fawqa aydihim. Indeed, the hand of Allah is over all their hands. And we talked about this, that yad, we do not translate it literally, because Allah doesn't have hands, because it means physical, it means limitation, and Allah is not possible for Him to limit Himself to something small. Even if it's a massive hand, it still is a small in comparison with His greatness. So what is the word Yadullah here? Is a metaphor. Yadullah is a reference of Allah's sovereignty, Allah's power. When we call somebody a handyman, it doesn't mean this guy entirely as the hand. The refer is a skill, right? So one promises to messenger. That's why we say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. And the promise we make to Allah, and then we make that promise, that contract with Allah and the messenger. What is that agreement between us and the messenger? Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. Pray the way I pray, Prophet said. You follow me, my sunnah, my way. And then Quran says, you follow me. Al-yawm akmaltu lakum dinukum. Today we perfected your religion. The famous statement of the Prophet on Ghadir when he said, Alastu awla bil mu'minin min anfusihim. Am I not more in charge of you than yourselves? And everybody said, yes, indeed you are. Then he said, Man kuntu mawla fa hadha aliyun. He did it after. You're making an agreement. You're making an agreement that I have a position that is superior to your position. So you fulfill this contract. And also another contract you made with the Prophet is he said in the Quran, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ. That's another agreement. That Rasulullah, Allah told him to say to the Muslims that if you want to compensate me, if you want to return the favor in somehow, then have mawaddah, have this special type of bond and mahabba and love to my qurba, to those who are closest to me. And let's put all those arguments aside, who is qurba, whether the wives of the Prophet are among the qurba or not. Let's put that aside. Is there anyone who can argue that Fatima to Zahra is one of the qurba? Can somebody argue? Who is closer than Prophet than Fatima to Zahra? Someone that Rasulullah would run to her. When she would enter, he would not walk to her. Prophet would run to Fatima to Zahra. قَبَّلَ يَدَهَا. Prophet would kiss her hand, make her sit by his side. All of that. So that should be enough to say who is the closest. So when you show love to Prophet, it's a contract. And then he himself said, إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَعِتْرَتِهِ. Muslims narrated in the Sahih of Ahlul Sunnah as well. He didn't say, Kitab Allah wa Sunnati. They say it, but look at their own book. It's Kitab Allah wa Itrati. Sunnati is not there. So I leave you with two weighty things, the book of Allah and wa Itra. Itra, if you don't know the Arabic language, is the same as Ahl Bayti. In some sources is Itrati Ahl Bayti. Have been mentioned. That's a contract. That I leave you with two weighty things, hold on to them. In tamassaktum bihima. If you hold on to them, lan tadillu ba'di. You will never be misguided. That's also a contract. What part of deen we have to fulfill? We have to fulfill our contract with Allah, not to follow shaitan. We have to follow the sunnah, the way of the Prophet. Among that, we have to follow the path of the Prophet through Ahlul Bayt. Because he said, I leave you with Quran and Ahlul Bayt. And the third one, the third type of contract, are contracts between us and others. Sometimes in the form of a written contract, you write it down. Sometimes is a verbal agreement. Sometimes is just a nod, a head gesture. Somebody tells you something, all you do is just, as a sign of agreement, you put your head down, a nod. Even that counts as an agreement. Why this much attention to details? Because people, as nature of the man is, we look for loopholes. We look for a way to go around things, right? MashaAllah, young people are master of this, right? They tell their parents something, and when they come back, they know how to twist the word. I told you I will be here before 10. I meant 10 a.m., not 10 p.m. So try to find a loophole, right? So when it comes to agreement with others, sometimes it's a legal agreement. So there are consequences for those, right? There are consequences. But we're talking about from a spiritual perspective. You get a loan, even from In this matter is not even a Muslim or non-Muslim. It's irrelevant. When you enter an agreement with anyone of any faith, you have to hold on to your end of agreement. Sometimes it comes in a form, as I said, that you're an employee. You work for a company. You sign a contract with them. Fulfilling the terms of your contract now is not only legally on you, we're talking about religiously now, you're also responsible. You're getting paid for this, there are responsibilities for you as well. On you to fulfill those duties that you accepted. Same as when we come to agreement that they are not written. For example, you give your word to someone that you will do something. Your mom tells you, clean your room. Young people, you hear me, right? Clean your room. And what do we tell them? I'll do it tomorrow. And I know parents who tell me it has been 2 years, we're waiting for that tomorrow to come. So once you make a promise, even if it means a simple promise as cleaning my room, because small mistakes lead to bigger mistakes, right? When you learn that it's not a big deal to break my promise. One issue that I've seen is that when we look at what people can do with a broken promise. One example of that is the matter of mahr, dowry. In Islam, as part of the agreement, that the wife or the bride can request an amount. It could be an activity, it could be an action, it could be money, it could be land, it could be anything. It don't have to be something with monetary value. I know I did nikah that the mahr was, I believe, memorization of Quran. That was it. That my husband has to memorize this much. So it could be an activity, an action. It could be, as I said, something with monetary value. But once you made that agreement, then that is a what? Is a aqd now, is a contract. And it's unfortunate that sometimes when the moment comes that people, God forbid, they're in trouble as a matter of divorce, separation, people say, okay, what's your proof? We did the Islamic aqd. Here again you get a marriage license. There is no enforcement of the rule of mahr. Who's going to put you in a position that you have to pay it? So we see that in that moment, people start to look for loopholes. Oh, I don't give you a divorce unless you forgive your man. So I hold on to something in order to make it happen. Or the other way true as well. Let's say somebody said, I forgive mine, and then later on they change their mind. So we have those who make a promise, who give their words, and the words are getting lesser and lesser of value. And that's a big problem. When our promises have no meaning. When our words means nothing. Yes, Quran talks about the importance of written contracts, having witnesses, eyewitnesses basically. But the point is that even when there is no written contract, when there is no witness, still a Muslim, when they gave their words, they have to stick with what they say. If there's one thing a Muslim should be known for, it should be for what? Trustworthy. You can trust a mu'min. Blindly you can trust them. The moment a mu'min goes to betrayal, you take advantage of people. I give an example. People trust you, they invite you to their house. You see something in their house. Otherwise, you would never see that in their house. They trusted you. You go and spread what you saw in their house. Whatever that was, I don't know. You saw something that was, I don't know, fancy or luxury. You saw something that it was good or bad, whatever it was. And we go around and we talk about it. This is taking people's privacy. This is people's, when we call their house and you share with others. This is an example of betrayal. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet says, for a munafiq, for a hypocrite, if you want to get to know a hypocrite, there are 3 signs for a hypocrite. Among the sign of a munafiq is إذا حدث كذب. When they say something, usually you don't find a lot of truth with what they say. وَإِذَا اؤْتُمِنَ خَانَ. When they're being trusted, they betray the people's trust. They're kha'in. وَإِذَا وَعَدَ خَلَّفَ. And when they make a contract, a promise, they usually go against it. They break it. So these are the qualities of a munafiq, if you call it quality. These are the signs of a munafiq. So for us, is an attempt that our trustworthiness has to begin from within our own families. That my own child should trust me. Right? I give an example. Sometimes parents hide things from each other. The worst thing we do. Let's say we talk to our spouse and say, you know what? Whatever is regarded in regard of our children, we will talk about it. Sure? We agree on it? Yes. Okay. And then later on, something happens. And let's be clear, your children are very smart. Smarter than you think. They know how to manipulate sometimes. They come to your mom or dad, doesn't matter. You know, I want to tell them, but she doesn't understand me the way you do. So first is kind of, let's work on you first, right? Praising you a bit. You know, you're very understanding. I always say, I tell my friends, I have the best dad in the world. So what is it? Yeah, this happened, but please don't tell dad. Or please don't tell mom. You already make an agreement to your spouse. You already did. Your response should be, I respect that, but we have an agreement with your dad. We have an agreement with your mom. This is not something that we can go against our trust. And you should trust us as well, that we're here to help you. So this matter of trust, it should start from within the house. That people should know, the members of the family, they trust one another. When they give their words, they stick to what they say. But if God forbid, as parents, between ourselves, we don't fulfill our promises, what kind of example we will set for our children? Obviously. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So again, I conclude here. Alhamdulillah, your dua was answered. Eventually, one force in the universe was able to make my speech shorter, and that was the sickness that came to me. So your dua was answered. I'm going to make my speech a bit shorter than usual. I know that last week we had a Farsi speech, so that was an outlier, an exception. But from now on, inshallah, our Friday night speech will be in English. From now on, we will not have a Farsi lecture on Fridays, inshallah. But because I was sick last night, I wasn't able to come. I'll give a few minutes in Farsi to make up. This is a qadha time, salatul qadha, for the last night. Yeah, fulfilling my contract. Because I told them on Thursday night I give Farsi, but I missed it last night. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. چون دیشب رو من نتوانستم برای قسمت فارسی بیام، خیلی مختصر فقط یک حدیث رو از امام صادق علیه السلام میخوانم. حدیث هم در رابطه با این است که انسان چگونه از ذکر استفاده کند در لحظه هایی که به مشکلات دچار میشیم. بعضی وقتی سختی ها بر ما فشار میارن، ما ماندیم چیکار بکنیم؟ بعضیا ناخونه هاشون رو میخورن، بعضیا موهای سر و ریششون رو میکنن، بعضیا کلا حالت عادیشون رو از دست میدن. ولی بهترین کاری است انسان در هنگام سختی از خداوند استمداد کند، طلب کمک کند. امام صادق فرمود عجبت لمن فزع من اربع کیف لا یفزع الی اربع. حضرت فرمود که من تعجب میکنم، در شگفتم از انسانی که از 4 چیز میترسد، نگران 4 چیز است، ولی به این 4 تا ذکر و دعا پناه نبرد. فرمود اول عجبت لمن خاف کیف لا یفزع الی قوله عز وجل حسبنا الله و نعم الوکیل. تعجب میکنم، در شگفتم از کسی که ترس بر او غلبه کرده، در هنگام ترس، خوف، که چگونه به ذکر حسبنا الله و نعم الوکیل پناه نمیبرد. این حضرت داره به ما 4 تا نسخه معنوی، 4 تا نسخه قرآنی میپیچد. هر زمانی که انسان ترس بر او غلبه کرد، فرمود انسان بگوید حسبنا الله و نعم الوکیل. این از سوره مبارکه آل عمران هست، آیه 171. حسبنا الله یعنی چی؟ یعنی خداوند برای ما کافی است. ما ترسیدیم از هر چیزی، تکیهگاه ما خداست. و نعم الوکیل، وکیل الان میگن لویر، وکیل میگن. وکالت دادن یعنی کاری رو به دست کسی دیگری سپردن. نعمه یعنی چه خوب، و چه خوب وکیلی است خداوند. چه کسی بهتر از خدا که انسان کارش رو به او بگذارد، دست خدا بگذارد. یک. خب مسلمان معنیش رو هم انسان فکر کند، تأثیرش خیلی زیادتر خواهد بود. ولی خود این کلامی که بر زبان هم جاری می شود بی تأثیر نیست. دوم فرمود عجبتو لمن تم کیف لا یفزع الی قوله تعالی لا اله الا انت سبحانک انی کنت من الظالمین. باز فرمود در تعجبم از کسی که اندوهگین است، غمگین است، غم دارد، چگونه به ذکر لا اله الا انت سبحانک انی کنت من الظالمین پناه نمیبرد. که این آیه از سوره انبیاء آیه 87. لا اله الا انت سبحانک انی کنت، این معروف است به ذکر یونسیه، ذکر حضرت یونس علیه السلام که در هنگام گرفتاری هر وقت احساس کردیم غم، اندوه بر ما غلبه میکند، این ذکر رو زیاد بگیم که میشود لا اله الا انت، خدایی جز خدا یگانه نیست، سبحانک پاک و منزه است خدا از هر عیب و نقصی، انی کنت من الظالمین، همانا من به خویشتن ستم کردم. اعتراف میکنیم در درگاه خدا به جرم و تقصیر. سوم فرمود عجبت لمن مکر به کیف لا یفزع الی قوله تعالی افوض امری الی الله ان الله بصیر بالعباد. فرمود در تعجبم، در شگفتم برای کسی که مورد مکر و حیله قرار گرفته است، نگران این است که بر علیه او نقشه میکشند، حسود دارد، دشمن دارد، حالا هر چی که از مکر و حیله میترسد، ولی به ذکر افوض امری الی الله ان الله بصیر بالعباد. هر وقت نگران چیزی بودیم که بر علیه ما توطئه می شود، بر علیه ما حسادت می شود، این آیه رو بخوانیم. سوره مبارکه غافر آیه 54. افوض امری الی الله، کارم رو، حالا هم و غمم رو به خدا سپردم. افوض امری الی الله ان الله بصیر بالعباد، همانا که خداوند نسبت به بندگانش بیناست، قشنگ میفهمد چه کسی نقشه میکشد. بعضی وقتا ما از این نگرانی هم داریم، مثلا چشم نگرانی هستیم که اولاد ما، خود ما، زندگی ما چشم نزنن. یکی همین است. این آیه‌ای که ما میخوانیم و ای یکاد الذین کفروا، روایت نداریم که این آیه برای چشم زخم خوب است. آیه است که در رابطه با چشم زخم هست، در رابطه با پیامبر که میخواستن با چشم زخم پیامبر رو از بین ببرن. و ای یکاد الذین کفروا لیزلقونک بابصارهم. آیه مربوط به داستان است ولی نگفتن در برای چشم زخم خوب هست، ولی میخوانن. فقط بدانیم حالا آیه خواندن آیه قرآن همیشه خوب است، ولی از اون آیه‌ای که میشود انسان در هنگامی که نگران مکر و حیله بقیه هستیم، امام صادق فرمود این رو بگیم: افوض امری الی الله ان الله بصیر بالعباد. ذکر چهارم، ذکر قرآنی چهارم از امام صادق فرمود که باز در تعجبم: عجبت لمن اراد الدنیا و زینتها. تعجبم، در شگفتم کسی که زینتها و زیبایی‌های دنیا رو میخواد، یه نعمت دنیوی میخواد، خانه، موتر، کار، هر چیزی، یکی از نعمتها و زیبایی‌های دنیا رو میخواد. کیف لا یفزع الی قولی تعالی ما شاء الله لا قوة الا بالله. سوره کهف آیه 39. کسی که دنبال نعمت هم هست، حتی نعمت دنیایی، فرمودن که این آیه رو، این قسمت رو زیاد بگوید: ما شاء الله، آنچه که خدا بخواهد میشود، خواست خداست. لا قوة الا بالله، هیچ قوت و نیروی نیست مگر از جانب خدا. هر زمان من میگم، بارها گفتیم که بعضی وقتا ما تشویق میکنم به تفکر. بله، باید فکر کرد، باید تفکر کرد، اما ذکر جای تفکر رو نمیگیرد، تفکر هم جای ذکر رو نباید بگیره. یک کسی نمیتونه بگه از فردا موقع نماز که شد، الان من دیدم ماشاءالله بین فارسی زبانا زیاد شده است، میگن التماس دعا نمیگن، میگن چی؟ التماس تفکر. ادا اصول دیگه، یعنی دعا کردن فایده ندارد، التماس تفکر. تفکر جای خودش هست. بله، دین ما دینی است که دعوت میکند، سوال میکند. لئن سألته، مگر سوال کنی، من خلق السماوات والارض، چه کسی آفریده؟ سوال همیشه میپرسد قرآن. تفکر جای خودش، اما ذکر که زبان انسان به یاد خدا بچرخد، برکاتی دارد، اثراتی دارد که هیچ چیز دیگری ندارد. هر چیزی سر جای خودش. مثل این که ما میگم برای کسای دیگه هم بگیم، هر کسی که بخواد موفق باشد، راه حق و راه اعتدال، راه و جعلناکم امة وسطا، ما شما رو امت وسط قرار دادیم. نه اینکه اونایی که میگن کورکورانه فقط بگیم و زبان بچرخد هیچی نفهمیم، نه اونایی که میگن ما هیچ وقت نماز نمیخونیم ولی توی رخت خوابمون نشستیم تفکر میکنیم. او تفکری که انسان رو به خدا، به بندگی خدا، به عبدالله بودن، اینکه انسان فراموش نکنه تمام دنیا، تمام اسباب دنیا در آخر قرار بوده که امتحان باشه. تمام دنیا و مخلفاتش، و ما الحیات الدنیا الا لعب و لهو. زندگی دنیا به جز یک سرگرمی، یک چیز زودگذر، یک بازیچه بیشتر نیست. یعنی چی؟ چرا خدا میگه لعب و لهو؟ لعب الان اگر اونایی که جام جهانی یادشون از فوتبال میگن لعب العالمی، جام جهانی، لعب کلمه بازی، گیم. این دنیا گیم، خیلی جدی نگیر، ضرر میکنی، سود میکنی، بالا میری، پایین میای، روی میز و چوکی ریاست میشین، همه اینا گذرا هست، دوامی نداره. الا بذکر الله تطمئن القلوب. این ذکرها رو، 4 تا ذکری که از امام صادق فرمود رو استفاده کنیم. وقتی که ترسیدیم چی بگیم؟ حسبنا الله و نعم الوکیل. یعنی وقتی از انسان میترسد کار دیگه نمیتواند بکنه. یا وقتی شما ترسیدین، ممکن است خدا نکرده دزد آمده، خب زنگ بزنیم 911. یا وقتی شما کاری از دست شما بر نمیاد، فقط ترسیدین. اینجا انسان ذکر از آدم رو آرام میکنه. دوم چی بود؟ زمانی که انسان غمگین است. در هنگام غم چی بگیم؟ لا اله الا انت سبحانك انی کنت من الظالمین. ذکر یونسیه. در زمانی که انسان از مکر و فریب و نقشه کشیدن و حسادت دیگران میترسد چی بگه؟ افوض امری الی الله ان الله بصیر بالعباد. و آخری هم هر زمانی که نعمتی رو میخواستیم، حاجتی داشتیم، از دنیا و زینتهای دنیا میخواستیم، ماشاء الله لا قوة الا بالله. خدا انشاءالله عاقبت ما ختم به خیر بفرماید. خدا گناهان و خطاهای ما ببخشد و بیامرزد. خدا انشاءالله مظلومین عالم، مظلومین جهان، مظلومین مسلمان، مظلومین شیعه، بالاخره از مظلومین لبنان، غزه، پاراچنار، پاکستان، هر جای هر مظلومی است، خدا به زودی زود ظالمین رو به سزایشون در دنیا و آخرت برساند. خدا انشاءالله روح شهدا رو، روح همه مظلومین رو با سید الشهدا، با رسول الله و اهل بیتش محشور بفرماید. خدا انشاءالله لحظه‌ای و آنی ما رو به حال خود ما مگذارد. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten return of Imam of our time, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts, our deeds, our a'mal, and make it to be inshallah a source of khayr for us, a source of remorse and mercy in the day of judgment for all of us, inshallah, for the soul of all marhameen, for the shifa and healing and cure for all the marid and those who requested dua. Recite Surah Fatiha with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. They told me next week is Thanksgiving. What are we going to do with the program? So we're going to have the program, inshallah, because it's about Thanksgiving. It's about, inshallah, giving thanks. So as you enjoy your Thursday night with having time with family and Salatul Rahim, show up for Friday Jummah and Friday night, inshallah, to truly show gratitude and shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we will have, inshallah, our normal program on Friday, inshallah. Look forward to see you. Let's finish with the ziyarah, inshallah. وعجل اللهم في فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله يا خير خلق الله يا خاتم النبيين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين ويا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم أيها الحسن والحسين سبطي نبي الرحمة وسيدي شباب أهل الجنة أجمعين. السلام على علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام على محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام على جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام على موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام على علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام على محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام على علي بن محمد الهادي النقي. السلام على حسن بن علي العسكري الزكي. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد